Ciao, what's poppin', Pumpkinheads? It's your boy Sweet Lou back again with the Pumpkin Arch. We've had our first vine injury from a hanging pumpkin, and it's my fault. This pumpkin and this vine right here got a little squished. What had happened was this pumpkin was, instead of drooping, it was straight up, and it was sort of stuck in between it was like in the middle of this panel, and the very bottom of this was touching that, and it was starting to grow completely locked in the middle of this um, iron cell. So it would have grown, but it would have been like stuck, and I don't even know if I could have gotten it out. I waited on it too long, and eventually I helped it and let it slip a little, and then instead of slipping just a little, it went and the vine at the top got like juicy, like it wept. Maybe you can see it right here. Right there, you can still see a little bit of injury. I'm still waiting to see whether this fruit will suffer from that. But it was my first manipulation of these pumpkins, which are otherwise blowing me away with how strong they are. So just to show you like how big they are, here's my big head, and here's this pumpkin right here. Just go back a little bit. If you saw the swim through, you can see how big they are. This is my favorite. And how big it is. Wow. That's a big pumpkin, and it's hanging by a vine. Now that vine is narrowing towards the top, and it's bowing out, so it's pulling towards the pumpkin weight. There's definitely visible changes on the weight of these pumpkins, but I'm still going to not touch any of them until something actually breaks so I can learn how strong these pumpkins really are. This one I won't really count because it was my fault. As far as pests go, we've got some powdery mildew that started to show up. It's been humid lately. This is a very mild case of it. It's on both pumpkins and on Joselito a little bit. Powdery mildew happens in high heat and humidity. Here's part of it here. And it's the worst right there. That's kind of what it looks like at its worst. Oh, and the powdery mildew, oh, I'm just noticing. Okay. There's also cucumber beetles in the parts that are powdery mildew. So I'm gonna identify and squish these while we talk. These are first generation or second generation of these are baby cucumber beetles that have probably grown on this leaf. Maybe they were attracted to it because it was already weakened. It's got holes in it. That might have been them. I hear that cucumber beetles can make an interesting sort of like mosaic pattern happen. That's a virus getting in. I haven't noticed any of that. But yeah, just one leaf, bad one for powdery mildew. I might sacrifice that leaf. I might leave it. I'm half thinking of clearing all of the interior leaves out of the archway, just to make the look more severe or more like dramatic, so it's clean on the inside except for the pumpkins, and then all the pumpkin leaves are on top. It's just an aesthetic thing. If I do it, it'll probably be in a couple weeks. Tomorrow's fertilizer day, so I'd want to give it a week to let everything sort of cook and then maybe injure it a little bit. Yeah, you see I've got my hammock set up there. I've been having just the most enjoyable afternoons in the world in the shade of this pumpkin arch, seeing all the little things that I didn't notice until I spent hours underneath it. Cottonwood fluff getting caught in there, the little ecosystem of spiders and houseflies, and no squash bug sign, which is the hugest blessing. I only saw one. It was on Joselito early in the season. It was an ancient old guy. He did one batch of eggs, and I never saw anything else again. Yeah. Some other garden updates. These flowers are blooming. They're amazing. Not sure what they are. They were volunteers from the previous owners. They're gorgeous. We've got squash coming in finally. The beans are doing really well. We're harvesting them twice a week and having garlic, like sauteed beans. One of these is a melon. The other one's a watermelon. I'm not sure which is which. They're starting to grow, and I'm trimming them just like I did the pumpkins. The corn, same over here. That's going up the trellis. The corn looks just about ready to harvest, or I don't know. I don't know if it's ready to harvest, but it's getting better. And we've got crunchkins over here. We've got the beginnings of little pumpkins. These were flowers like 3 days ago, and now they're the beginnings of pumpkins. When I grew these in Washougal, there were squash bugs all over them. It was a nightmare, and I haven't seen sign of a single bug or a single egg or anything. So the fact that we're this far along and it's not a problem is a huge, huge blessing. I'm beginning to think that Washougal was suffering from being down the hill from a big pumpkin farm that had dealt with squash bugs a couple of years before and had been an increasing problem. So they lay eggs over the winter, or they hibernate over the winter. They wake up, there's no more pumpkins, and so they go downhill and they could smell my garden. And since there's no pumpkin farm around here, we don't have that problem. There's one more pumpkin I want to talk about, which is this one down here in the corner. Oof, I didn't want pumpkins down here because all the beautiful things about having the arch, being able to see the bottom of the pumpkin, being able to see the if there were any squash bug eggs, to see them underneath like that. You don't get that benefit if it's down there. But then I thought, oh, the more pumpkins on the vine at the same time, the better, so that none of them grow too fast and outgrow the strength of their vine. So I'm on the fence about keeping that one. I might decide later what to do. But right now, I've just been really enjoying the beauty of this thing. It's as gorgeous as I ever could have dreamed. And yeah, this is it. Thanks for checking in, Pumpkinheads. Catch you later.